to be wealthy? Do you want to be in control of your finances? Do you feel like you mostly get financial advice from people who are trying to sell you a bank's products? If your answer is yes to any of these questions, then stay tuned because you are at the right place. Welcome to Money Convos, a club committed to helping people achieve financial freedom by providing education and guidance on personal finance and investments. We have a group of experts who share their knowledge and give practical advice with no strings attached. At Money Convos, we have candid, mature conversations about wealth, how to create it, grow it, and protect it. We share our experience and encourage our audience to share theirs and ask questions. Join us every Thursday on Clubhouse at 7 p.m. GMT. We also have book discussions that bring out practical lessons. So far, we have read Dumb Things Smart People Do With Their Money, The Richest Man in Babylon, and The Millionaire Next Door. Most importantly, we have one-on-one financial coaching sessions where we guide individuals through setting financial goals, retirement planning, budgeting, investments, risk management, and so many more areas. The goal is to get you to financial independence from whatever income level you're at. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Clubhouse. The handle is at Money Convos GH, or send us an email at moneyconvosgh@gmail.com so we get you started on your journey to financial freedom. Now that you're all caught up, let's head into our next conversation.
Hi there, Jenny. How you doing?
Hello, Elikem. I'm doing well, thank you. And you?
I'm great. I already see Mimi in the comment section. Hi, Mimi. I hope you are good. So, Jenny, how was your weekend?
Well,
Oh, Jennifer. Okay, I may. Jennifer, please come again. I lost you for a bit. How's your
also, I was
weekend?
saying that it was good. And yours?
Mine was okay. Are you sure your weekend was just good? Did you not just graduate with an MSc from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology? Please, which specialization is it? Is it development finance or
No, it
which
was
one?
industrial finance.
Industrial finance. Just say you do what other people don't do. Before you hadn't heard some before. Industrial finance. Charlie, there are levels to this thing.
They just want money. They just want avenues to collect people's money. So,
So they use fancy names.
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
I wish I could post some of your pictures here so that our audience see how you were looking stunning. Stunning, absolutely stunning. In fact, they should go and check you out on Instagram. But I must confess, the pictures I got personally, absolutely 110% stunning. But yes. Apart from that, congratulations on your new laurels. I have no doubts. In fact, I can see that you're already applying the knowledge from that, and most importantly, your diligence towards continuous learning. So I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so with the encomiums done, we can start talking about today. And today we'll be wrapping up on the book, The Warren Buffett Way. In fact, there is a huge elephant in the room when I was reading these concluding chapters. And we read the chapter on the value of patience, and then the last one is summarizing the greatest investor in the world, right? But there was something absolutely missing throughout the book. And I want to know if you can guess what it was. I know I'm coming out at you straight out of left field, and it may be hard for you to guess. But let's see if you can. There's something that, okay, let me narrow it down. There's a certain type of book investment, or should I say asset class, that this book does not mention at all. Fixed income. The Warren Buffett Way, he does not talk about fixed income. Tell me, what did you also realize this as you were reading?
I think it dawned on me, especially when they were concluding And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay. So we went through all of these chapters, and the only thing that we spoke about were shares. But then again, I understand it because Warren Buffett made his fortune on the stock exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, he's really well versed in stocks and investing in equities and all of that. So
Mm.
I understand to an extent that he didn't give us um, any fixed income tips, quote unquote. But the thing is that he gave us a book on Trainer. That's Trainer, I think Frank Trainer or something like that
Mm-hmm.
wrote. And this man is a very seasoned um investor or financial expert.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a whole ratio or a mathematical equation named after him. So he's not a small man at all. And he went to Harvard, and then he was I think he was on the CFA investment journal or something came up. Yes. So he gave us a book that this man wrote, and then I think I went to look at the book, and then that one encompasses everything. So I think we could do that.
Okay, okay. But I get you on the fact that yes, he's been doing this is what he's been doing, equities, and that's what he is well versed in and all. I get that. But you see, the book calls him the richest, the greatest investor in the world. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Good. And here's the thing: a lot of times, the reason why it dawned on me so hard is a lot of times people reach out and it's like they want their money to make them rich, you know. And you just look at the greatest investor in the world, and fact is, he did not make his money from fixed income. He did not make his money from fixed income. It's
Yeah.
not even worth a mention in the book. And bear with me, this book could got quite technical. It was not worth a mention. It's not like he didn't even diss it. He didn't. Is he just like it's one thing if someone is talking about something, he refers to that thing as a bad thing, or he disses that thing. It's one
Just
thing
on this
totally.
radar. Mm.
But this one, it is he did not even mention it at all. And I just contrast that with a lot of Ghanaian investors who think they put them money in the bank and then it should make them rich. They call you, oh, my 2,000 CDs by now more should have added on it too. Meanwhile, your 2,000 CDs is even doing 20% per annum. But you are expecting that your 2,000 CDs within 5 months you should turn into 5,000 CDs. This is not men's gold. Please remember. you know, th- that's the kind of understanding. But bottom line, what, to our audience, I'm sure they are watching us nerding out. What are these people talking about? This is my point. If you want money to make you wealthy, this is how you do it. You take risk. If you are not ready to take risk, for just don't even worry about this Warren Buffett way. And you need to also be able to think long term. And that's the chapter we are going to be discussing today, right? So if you do these money market mutual funds, corporate bonds. You give people money, you expect your principal plus your interest back, fixed deposits, and the like, right? Those are the fixed income investments, principal plus interest. But you have to take risk to get return. And that's why we say invest in things like stocks. All right, invest in things like stocks. And when you do that, we say there's risk because there's sometimes business will do well, sometimes business won't do well. The price will go up and down, up and down. But over the long term, and Jenny, I know you're eyeing me at this point. Over the long term, using the US markets, using using the US markets as a judge, they have actually done better. In fact, Jennifer, maybe we should check with the Ghana Stock Exchange instead of the equity mutual fund we did. Same principle, right?
We could do
But yeah,
that.
that's the point is the richest investor that we know did it by picking stocks. It wasn't by doing fixed income. It wasn't by playing safe. It was by investing in risky investments. So I hope someone got something out of this, right? Don't expect, like, unless you are ready to take on risk, don't expect your money to be what will make you rich. The money that you save up can make you financially independent. Yes, we don't dispute that. But if you are saying rich, 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 let your money work for you. Like ah, like 100% return per annum compounded, that kind of thing is you have to be taking risk. Yeah. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Any more thoughts on this fixed income in Warren Buffett's matter before I get into the main points?
So I'm also thinking that it was made very palpable and very obvious to him and in his situation because we already know that Treasury, U.S. Treasury bond rates are quite low, and other
Quite
fixed income
extremely.
extremely low, and other fixed income returns too are very very low. So if you are looking to make like above average risk adjusted returns, then the way it's not fixed income in the US especially. So yeah, that just goes to buttress that if you want to be rich, you can be financially independent, but if you want to be rich, billionaire rich, it's not the fixed income market.
Exactly. Billionaire rich if you want to be billionaire rich. So to our aunties in the room, Mimi and Jennifer and Sarah, rich aunties, it's not fixed income. Yeah, it's not fixed income. Okay, great. No, seriously, think about it. I, I just keep ranting on the same point. Rich, risk, rich, risk. Whenever I think risk. Anyway, let's move on. So the last but one chapter of the book is talking about the value of patience, and it's in line with what we just finished talking about, risk. If you really want your money to work for you, grow, then you need an investment that can provide higher returns, and that higher return will come by taking on the risk. And if you are doing investing like Warren Buffett, investing in the long term, then guess what? You need patience. You need patience because, and I read this part of the book. Oh, wait, in fact, uh, there was a part of the book that said, compared what happens in the short term with what happens in the long term. But
Mm,
there's a lot of, well, in summary, there's a lot of speculation going on in the short term.
sure.
There's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of prices, a lot of price movements, up, down, up, down, up, down. People will panic in the short term. But it's really about the people who can stand the test of time. It's about the people who can weather the storms. And I use this example of when COVID happened in the US. That was March 2020. Their markets tanked, all-time lows, and the US had been on a about 10-year bull run. That means for about 10 years, the stock market was just going up, 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 up. Times were good. When COVID happened, it eroded all the returns, especially Trump. Like Trump was saying that in his time, the stock markets has hit record highs and whatnot. Oh, in the space of a month,
Very
everything
best. Mm,
gone. He couldn't use it for his campaign again because he had been
mm,
using that message and now it's no more. Okay, fine, we get it. Then people were panicking and as prices were going down. But you see, I tell people that yes, prices are going down. The value of your investment looks it's going down on paper. But until you sell, you are not crystallizing. You
yeah.
see, it's when you sell that you accept that okay, I'm taking the loss. Because for the price to go down, there was a trade. That means someone sold their shares at a certain price and someone bought from them. So you ask yourself, what's going on? Somebody is thinking in a certain way, so they are selling, they are getting out. Another person is thinking in a different way, and they are getting in. So one man's loss is another man's gain. You
Again.
see, so in that time in March, as the prices were going down, people were selling and some people were buying. In June, it picked up. It picked up like a new record highs. And guess what happened to the billionaires? The value of the wealth of billionaires. Elon Musk became the richest man with by far what to 300, is it 300 billion or so? Did he get to 300 billion at a point?
I think so.
From what 60 or so billion, it's just skyrocketed. Maybe not in the same timeline as June, but since COVID, look at what happened. So imagine if you panicked and said because of COVID you are going to sell out of all your bonds. Within a space of a month, you have lost a lot of value. and you've gifted that value to the person who bought from you, and you've made that person rich. What's the lesson here? Calm down. Think long term. Things will happen in the short term. I know things will happen. You are seeing a lot of movements. The value of your money is going down, but calm down. This is why an emergency fund is very important. And I'm eyeing Mimi at this point. Like when you have an emergency fund, you can afford to think long term and you don't weather these storms, because it's over the long term that the true value of companies come out. In the short term, people are just speculating. So
Speculating.
calm down. So yeah, that was an example about why people should think long term. Jenny, how about you? What's your thoughts on long term?
So long-term investing, as Warren Buffett mentioned, as the book mentioned, it has to do with patience. There are ups and downs. I want to use the what is going on. So I just have very little visibility, pardon this word, on the on the Bitcoin market currently, but I understand from something I heard about a week or two ago that it was tanking, just
Oh,
as the equity market was tanking and all of that. And you know that the Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency space has more retail investors who are just doing speculation. So people are panicking left, right, front, center. Like it's just, oh, there's just so much hula baloo. Ellie can permit me to use this word. All people are running helter skelter. Anyway, so you realize that if you don't have the stomach to bear markets, you will not have patience to enjoy when the bull markets come, because nobody can say for a fact that throughout their investment cycle they haven't had a market going down before. It won't happen. And if you are just speculating, sometimes you may be caught in a trap where just when you entered is when things are going to go bad. So have patience. A lesson we learned in one of our previous books was that if you have, let's say, monthly deposits that you deposit into an investment account, do it consistently. Have patience. When inflation is 15 billion percent, whatever it is, just have patience and know that short-term volatilities and short-term speculation and all of those things will not benefit you so much. And sometimes transaction cost in these I'm going and coming, I'm turning myself around, will eat into your return, and before you realize you won't be able to do it so much and be able to garner a lot of returns like that. So stick to your plan. Number one, have a plan, stick to it, and then just look at the market, do what it's going to do. You'll be fine. Warren Buffett has been doing this for 60 years.
mm,
He's one of the richest people in the world. You will be fine.
mm. Yep, you'll be fine. So I want to read something from the book, all right?
Okay.
And it's saying that, so looking at long term investing, and he's making a case for investing a long time. I
Okay.
contrast this with long term investing with, like you were saying, and where the markets where there are lots of retail people. Day trading, it's become a thing in the US. People
Yep.
get on apps like Robinhood and they buy today. By the end of the day, they've sold it. They're just flipping their stocks. That's all good and well. But the analogy you were given on get in, get out, get in, get out, transaction cost is like, before I read the part in the book, right? It's like when you're sitting in traffic, there are some people you are trying to get to the same destination, but there are certain drivers who just keep zigzagging, zigzagging. And it's funny. You still go and meet them at the same traffic lights. Meanwhile, you
Yes.
just stayed put. But they've burnt a whole lot of fuel doing all that running around. So they thought they were saving themselves time. One, they didn't save themselves time. And two, all that up, down, zigzag
Tired.
brought risk. They'll be tired. And then the car will wear more.
Wear and
And
tear. Yeah.
even more importantly, more fuel was burnt. More fuel was burnt. So in a can, what do we say? Okay, now buy.
Mm,
Did you go or you came? Like the value is
yeah.
the same. Me that I stayed in my lane calmly and just waited till I got to my destination versus you that you did all that trouble. Which is better off, right? So
Yeah.
I read from the book, and it says, to demonstrate the benefits of long-term investing, it says, we calculated the 1 year return, trailing 3 year return, and trailing 5 year return between 1970 and 2012. That means they looked at various returns okay, if someone invests for 1 year at a time, 3 years at a time, or 5 years at a time, you just put your money in, you wait 5 years later, you take it out, right? And they said during this 43-year period, the average number of stocks in the S&P 500 index, that is the index of the top 500 stocks in the US, the largest 500 stocks in the US. So he said the average number of stocks in that index that doubled in any 1 year averaged 1.8%. That is nine stocks out of 500. Nine stocks out of 500. Okay. Then they said over the 3 year rolling period. So now this person is investing their money for a longer time. All right. 3 year rolling periods, 15.3 of the stocks doubled. Okay. Doubled. And they said 70, that is 77 stocks out of 500. So you see, wouldn't you just love for your money to double?
Yeah.
When we're looking at 1 year, how many stocks doubled in 1 year? It was just 1.8%. In 3 years, is what, 15.3%. Now, when we take 5 year rolling blocks, okay, 5 year rolling return, 29.9% of them doubled. That's 150 out of 500 doubled. All right. So now, when you think about it, which period gives you the better opportunity to see your money double?
3 to 5, 3 years and above.
3 years and above.
Hmm.
The 5 year especially, 150 out of 500 could double. So what if you invested in the 150 out of 500 that's doubled? You have better chances there. But maybe
Yeah.
the doubling is not giving you an interest rate, right? For your
Yeah.
money to double for over a 5 year period, that means you got a return of 14.9%. I know for those of us in Ghana, you say, treasury bill is more than that. But we are
Treasury.
talking on the dollar. Okay.
Yeah.
Tre- on the dollar. And Jennifer, you alluded to this earlier that treasury bill in the US, you barely get 1%, 0
Yeah.
point something, right? So if you look at put that in the context, and even in Ghana, if you're a Ghanaian investor and you're looking for an investment, if you are not rich enough to have access to the Eurobond market, you'll be lucky to get even 5% on the dollar. You'll be very lucky. So
Yeah.
you realize that these kind of returns, 14.9, is it? Yeah, 14.9%, almost 15% per annum on the dollar. That's a bloody good return if you ask me.
That it
You
is.
get me?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, so why would you not rather stay longer and give yourself that opportunity? What are the odds that you, for investing in 1 year, will find the one stock, or you would invest in the 9 out of 500 stocks
That's
that
all
will
double.
double?
Yeah.
What are the odds? So yeah, that's just what the book is saying on patience. Jenny, any other parts on patience that you picked up from the book?
I highlighted certain things. Let me just get them and read them. I really liked so there was um there was a part where he said something. He said that he's quite patient and
Mm,
he when he comes to the market, he's not fretful, huh? And when he comes to the market to um, look at what is going on, he comes to say that has somebody done something quote unquote foolish right now that will make me benefit if I take a position? Yes. So and the people that are doing quote unquote something's foolish are people who are
mm-hmm,
not really thinking and are just reacting to market trends and just going in and out and thinking they could beat the market.
mm-hmm,
So I think that we are all learning. All of us are investors and we are learning through trial and error. So usually, sometimes you will think that, oh, this is a hot cake or something, and then you get in and then it will work for you. But then it doesn't mean that every time it works. And if you make a habit of it, that is when you'll be doing something that's quote unquote foolish, because you'll be caught with your
mm-hmm.
pants down one day. And before you realize, people like Warren Buffett will be swooping in
Oh,
to take the kill when
oh,
you at your expense. Yes. So the like patience cannot be overemphasized. No matter
mm,
what it is, you have to have patience. So first you have, and this is in the chapter 8, but then I'll just like to allude on it, or throw some light on it. So far as you think you are and know it's or you know something about investing, you'd have developed a plan already. So
Yep.
stick to it, and only change your objectives for your investment if it falls within your strategy, and not just be having knee-jerk reactions to things that are happening. But if you don't think you are a knowledgeable investor like that, then Warren Buffett advises that you stick also with long term and patience. But then let's say have index funds, and in Ghana you can do, let's say, mutual funds. Just put your money into mutual funds and then be playing the long term game. If you can have monthly deposits, deposits on it monthly, be checking your statements every year and all of that. And as I keep saying, you'll be fine. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. If you don't know it, or a mutual fund is a good place to start, or an index fund is definitely a good place to start. I really love that point about the foolishness. Like, there are people ready to pounce, and I've
Yeah.
been saying this so for some months now because of all the volatility that's going on. Honestly, sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself in times of turmoil is keep calm and don't do anything. Keep calm and don't do anything. But I'm paid to make decisions, and
Yep.
yet my decision today is don't do
Sit
anything.
tight.
It's like people can't wrap their heads around it. It's like you're supposed to be investing, do something, do something. I'm like, right now, the best thing I should do is hold the steering wheel still and stay on the course. But it's hard for people to appreciate, right? And so, speaking of what makes it difficult for people to be patient, because yeah, we are saying people are not patient, people should be patient, blah blah blah. What does it take to help people to be patient, or what are they missing that's causing them to be impatient? One of those things is rationality, and the book talks about this. And he said, and I'll read from the book for a bit. He says it's a critical difference. Rationalism, according to the Oxford American Dictionary, is a belief that one's opinions or actions should be based on reason and knowledge rather than emotional responses. One's opinions or actions should be based on reason and knowledge rather than emotional responses. We need to start asking ourselves that if our decisions that we are taking, the opinions that we hold, are they based on emotion, our feelings, maybe fear, greed, and the like, or actual reason and knowledge? We've thought logically, okay, because this is like this, I have to do this because that's the right way to do things. You have the facts to back your decision. Or it's just, I feel like this, I'm scared, I'm afraid. Oh, I'm happy today, I'm happy, so I'll do this. Whatever feelings it is. The question is, which one is motivating you? All right. Then I just want to make a caveat that the book said. We are talking about being rational. I said a rational person thinks clearly, sensibly, and logically. However, you need to understand that rationality is not the same as intelligence. Smart people can do dumb things. Smart people
Most
can
things,
do dumb things. Yes, yes, yes. The
damn things
first book we
smart
did.
people do. Yeah.
Exactly. Dumb things smart people do with their money. It's the first book we did on Money Convos book review. Dumb things smart people do with their money. So even smart people can do dumb things, right? So don't equate someone being intelligent with being rational. No, no. You can have all that brain, all that horsepower in your brain and refuse to use it. So
Yep.
yeah, you just need to be mindful of that. Jenny, any thoughts on rationalism?
Rationality is making a second appearance here. The first appearance it made was when it was talking about management of companies. So it is just to show that if we are looking at good companies and we are thinking that their management should be very rational with capital allocation decisions, which is where to, in what business venture should they invest their monies for returns in the future, then it just goes to show that for you to be a successful investor, you also need to be able to position your money very appropriately, so that using rationality, so that you also be able to get the best returns from your decision making. And one thing that he said then was that rationality is by far the best, or rationalism, yes, is by far the best attribute a manager can have. And as we are managers of our own monies at the end of the day, we should be able to allocate our monies looking at the risk. So as you are looking at where to put your money, you look at the risk and your risk appetite and all of that. And then some other um, measures that you can use to see if the investment you are
Mm-hmm.
going into is the best fit for you. Don't be following people. Elikem came to say that, oh, this is good for him. So, oh, Elikem is a fund manager and all of that. But his risk level may be different from yours. So you really need to be able to be rational and, number one, understand the business and the way it affects you, so that you can take rational decisions and not be um, emotional about it. Another thing that he mentioned when he was talking about the rationality was that there are two types of cognitive or parts of brains that we use. There's the first part that we don't really think, like we just hear something no, and then something comes into our head. Pani and I have a word for it. It's thinking extemporaneously. Yes, please. It is when you don't really, like, you hear something and it is built into your subconscious, so you don't really think about it and then you give an answer. And then there's also the part where when you hear something, you go through rational decision making step by step by step. And then by the time you finish that, even though the time would have been longer, you probably come out with a better decision with using the second type of thinking than the first. And Warren Buffett is saying that we should all strive to use the second part. Take time. If you hear about an investment opportunity, don't just react then and then start and use your first brain thinking power and not really think deep and do it. Go and sleep. As you are sleeping, your subconscious and your mind will think about something, and then you'll be able to better identify with it. An example, so I was sending something for my manager to approve, and so I went to sleep. The next morning, I realized that I left one out, and I was just asleep. I woke up and I was like, ah, I left this person out. So the next one, I went to work and then I put it in. I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't doing anything related to work. It just came in my head that I left that out. So you see, you really need to use your second. I wasn't using it anyway, but you could use your second part, brain for thinking, and hopefully you will make more rational decisions. Thank you.
Okay, so use the second part of your brain. In fact, I encourage everyone to read this book. Yeah, there are some chapters that get very technical, but if you can, especially reading chapter 7, and then before that, the psychology of investing showed up again in this book, which was chapter 6. So I strongly encourage you reading that. If you can't read the whole book, when you take this book, read chapter 1, read chapter 2, gets a bit tricky. So chapter 1, chapter 3, read chapter 6, 7, and 8. I strongly recommend those. So chapters 1, 3, 6, 7, and 8. Very good parts of the book that you can read if you don't want to get too technical, and you would get those lessons that we are picking up from here. Okay, so moving on. All right, moving on. Just a few things still on this matter of patience and how Warren Buffett handles these things. And he says that uh, rationality is essential when others are making decisions based on short term greed or fear, says Buffett. That is when the money is made. So when everyone is panicking, the CD is somewhere, this is that, this what's going on, inflation is up, everybody's running helter skelter. I want to sell my bonds, I want to sell this, I want to sell that. Don't worry, buy it from them.
Hmm.
When you see people panicking this way, this is your chance to swoop in and buy. Of course, don't just go and buy anything. No, don't go and buy face shields. No. Of course, buy buy investments that were good already. You know, this is a good business, this is a good investment to do, and you are getting it even cheaper because everybody is panicking. This is the good time to get into the market, you know. So I strongly encourage everyone to do that. Then it says that whereas most individuals cannot endure the discomfort associated with declining stock prices, Buffett is not unnerved. That means he's not worried, he's unperturbed because he believes that he can do a better job than the market in valuing a company.
Yep.
And this goes to something you said earlier. In the short term, everybody is just picking prices however they want. Speculators going up, down, up, down. But he, as a long-term thinker, believes that he can get there. He can get there. I've forgotten what term there was. There's a certain saying, not sure if it's attributed to him or not, but he says, in the short term, the market is like the stock price is like a thermometer or something like that. But in the long term, it is a weighing scale. Meaning in the short term, it's fickle, things can change.
Yeah.
But in the long term, that's when you see the true value, the true worth of an investment. And, and that's when you see this company is truly valuable if you hang in there over the long term. Okay, great. So, Jenny, is there any more you'd like to say on patience? For me, that's pretty much what I have covered on patience. Before I just touch on what the next chapter said, and we just wrap up our main points from this book. So, anything more on patience and how to go about it?
Um. So. I okay. No, I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So then let's look at, generally speaking, we've had three sessions, or this is a third session where we've been talking about the Warren Buffett way. In fact, last week especially, we got deep into these lessons that we learned, especially the business tenets. In fact, that's what we discussed last week, and we learned lessons about how good managers are, how you should think about stocks and all that. And again, mentioned fixed income wasn't mentioned, you know. So yeah, are there any overarching lessons that you've learned? Perhaps we'll start with you, and then I would just go with another one I picked up.
Okay. So one, I would say for me, as an investment professional, this is the best. Okay, no shots to the intelligent investor, but this is I assimilated a lot more from this that I think will really aid my investment professional journey a lot more. And I won't say it to net a lot of people out, as Edikem will say, but it has really been beneficial then. But right now, as somebody who is looking to invest my money, make myself rich as a human being, and I hope that all of us that are on this, listening to this review or will listen to it later, will also have the same mentality of increasing our wealth. One thing that will really help us is not to look at Warren Buffett and say that I would have been like, I would also have been able to become rich if I had millions. Warren Buffett didn't start out rich. He started out like a normal human being, 25-year-old person. I stand corrected, but I think he started with $100 or so. No matter what it is, any amount of money you could invest it and then build up from there. You only need persistence and a tunnel vision, because there are a lot of things that could come up and then come and take up a lot of time, like attention from your goal and investment and all of that. But
Mhm.
the tunnel vision will be able to let you stay on your goal and do everything that you need to do. Another thing is that you shouldn't look at him and equate it to not ever having made a failure. He said in one, I think the ending chapters, that he hasn't been infallible. Even though he
Mhm.
has shown a lot of successes, he has made a lot of failures as well. We may not have read them and mentioned them here, but then he made certain bets that didn't work out as well. So in your financial journey where things will not go well, let's say sometimes treasure bill will rise up too much and your investment will seem as if it's not giving you returns and all. Stay on the
Treasure bill.
course. Stay on the course and know that even if failures come, in the long term, successes will outweigh the failures that will come. So
Mm,
yeah, that's it. And last
that's good.
one, I think this has been a recurring theme in all our books. This is a blueprint. It doesn't mean that come rain or high water, that's what we have to follow every time. You can find your own way, have your own preferences, your own context, but inculcate these things that we've learned in them instead of just saying that Warren Buffett didn't do this, I also won't do that. Warren Buffett is dealing in a situation that is totally different from the situation that you may be dealing in. And so you have the two ways of looking at taking the lessons, but then putting them in your life and then charting your own path. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. Very good lessons you've picked up. I can relate to some of them, and for me too, this is a good time to be reading this book as an investment professional. It reminds you of back to basics. These things that Warren Buffett is saying, we know them in our books, so we learn them in the textbooks. But when it comes to practicing, then the emotions just take over, and it's
Yeah.
not just for the and so this is how it works. We, especially as the investment professionals, it's not our money that we are investing, other people's money. So you can't go and, pardon my French, but do cha-cha with someone's money. You can't go and gamble with someone's money. And sometimes in these times when we are telling people calm down or things are going down, buy more, they'll feel like you're gambling with their money. So it's having to deal with other human beings also then gets back to us and say that, okay, you know what, I have to play safe. If I tell this my client that he should do this, you think I'm crazy, so I won't suggest it to him, or I won't do this. I won't suggest it to her, or I won't try and buy even more because she would think I'm crazy, right? There's that. But we need to just keep um we just need to keep
Calm.
calm and remind our clients. Today, I this morning I saw an email and I was quite sad because a client that I've been trying to get to keep calm, keep calm, keep calm, and I thought we had actually made progress and everything was fine, only to come and see an email from over the weekend that, you know what, he can't keep calm again. He can't keep calm again. And I'm like, for his sake, I really hope he doesn't lose on whatever transaction we do. But at this point, it is what it is, right? But like Jennifer was saying, it's not a one size fits all. You need to understand your situation, and the person has understood his situation and is taking the necessary action in his situation, right? So we all need to keep that in mind. But let's not throw logic away. Sometimes I have a conversation with certain people, very, and then yes, we know the right thing to do, but after the fact, people still go and do whatever they want, and that's all good and well. But you end up still struggling. You still have unmet bills, and 5, 10 years later, you've not grown your wealth by much. You've just been living by the status quo, doing things the same way that everyone is doing. That they are not becoming rich, and you say that Ghana had some way. We really need to get our minds in order, right? And that brings me to another point that I've gotten from reading this book. When it comes to investing, when it comes to money, it's really all about our mind. It's all about our mindset. It's all about our self-discipline. How are we able to control ourselves so that we do the right thing? Because the right thing is written. It's written there, and we know what it should be. We have examples of the greatest investor in the world, someone who is rich because he grew money. When we say Bill Gates became rich because of Microsoft, Elon Musk because of Tesla, which other rich people, like everyone got rich by doing business, right? So if you are trying to find out who got rich by investing their money, the richest person is Warren Buffett. He got rich by investing money into businesses and got to this point. So he's the gold standard, and it's good that we listen to some of these things. Some people will say that, oh, you are being too robotic and all that. I'm like, I hear you, but when I have an extra million to buy another Bugatti, we'll have this conversation again. You'll have this conversation again, So yeah, that's something that I picked up. I also like what you said about him being infallible. But yeah, so those are just a few of the comments to what you were saying. Why are
I
we
lost you at
saying?
a point, but yeah,
Sorry, come again.
I lost you at a point, but I
Oh,
picked up at the
okay.
end. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Hi, Jenny. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. The screen is frozen. Okay, okay, I can see you now. I can
Hi,
see your
Jenny.
eyes.
Can you hear
Clear.
me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, I'm in the office and I'm using my phone as hotspot, so you know how the thing goes. Sometimes disconnects. But yeah, okay. So I was saying, why are we saying Warren Buffett? Not just because he alone became rich, but you see, Warren Buffett. Jenny, can you hear me? I see you. Your image looks frozen. Okay, but Warren Buffett not only made himself rich, but he made a whole lot of other people rich. And it said that if you invested um, in his Berkshire Hathaway, Jenny, are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Oh, good. So if you invested in his Buffett partnership at the beginning, that is from the period 20. So the period 1965, or is this 1960? Wait, okay, let me read this part. An investor who put 10,000 in Buffett's partnership at the beginning and held it until the end would have netted, after Buffett's profit share, 150,000. You grew your money from 10,000 to 150,000. Please, the people who like the big money, you want your money to grow for you. Listen, oh, if you had invested in his partnership, 10,000 to 150,000. But if you had done the index fund, okay, which is just a simplified investment for you to compare, that's the Dow Jones Industrial Average, you would have ended up with just 15,000. So you see the difference from 10,000 to 15,000 versus 10,000 to 150,000. We don't need to do any long, complicated math. We
Nope.
can just see that there is evidence to back what he has done. Apart from his own wealth, he has done a lot to grow other people's wealth. In fact, looking at so that was the first partnership. Now looking at Berkshire Hathaway, he said 40 over the 48-year period from 1965 to 2012. Okay, the book value of Berkshire Hathaway has grown from $19 per share to $114,000 per share. That is 19.7% per annum over a 48-year period. Just say, even over this long time, he was able to be consistent. But when you compare that with the S&P 500 index, even with dividends included, it grew at only 9.4%. So you can see that Berkshire Hathaway did 10 percentage points better than the S&P 500. So the ball is in your court if you want to take this kind of advice from Warren Buffett, because he's the greatest investor in the world. And we have to get to that point where we control our minds, we control ourselves, and we try to get over certain obstacles that prevent us from making good decisions. Reminds me of the conversation we had last Thursday on Clubhouse. the mental and emotional biases that prevent us from making the right decisions. If you haven't listened to it, you didn't join us, just get on Clubhouse and go and listen to the replay of that. All right. Okay. The last thing I would like to say about Warren Buffett, though, is, or the book, as the book says, or well, not the last thing, I'll just say a few more things. It says, this is the man, he still lives in the same Omaha house he bought in 1958. He still lives in the same house. He drives late model American cars, not the latest model, old
The
models.
brand new ones.
He doesn't like brand new, old models. He prefers cheeseburgers, Coke, and ice cream to fancy cuisine, caviar, and things. No, 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 no. In fact, he said his only vice is his beloved private jet. Private jet, there, he needs that one. He can't be doing first class, economy class. All right. And he says that it's not that he wants money, but it's the fun of making money and watching it grow. So if you want to see if you want to see your money grow, this is a good book to pick up and practice some of these lessons. All right. Um, and I guess you know what? I'll just keep it short. This last one I think is a good punchline. He said, Buffett has a well-developed ability not merely to survive the dangerous times that make headlines, but to aggressively invest through these rough periods. Not just to survive during the dangerous times, but to aggressively invest through these rough periods. Jenny, this just reminds me of last week, Monday, the clients who were able to convince to come in these tough times, rather to invest some more. Meanwhile, another client is looking at the same situation and saying, you know what, it shows that things are getting too dire. I want out. I'm not judging, but I'm just saying the Warren Buffett way would say, this is the time to buy more. This is the time to buy more. Buy cheap, buy more. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on the Warren Buffett way, and I strongly encourage anyone to pick it up. And if you do, again, chapters 1, 3, 6, 7, and 8, very good places to read. In fact, could I say 6? Yeah, very good chapters to read here, the psychology of investing. Yeah. Chapters 1, 3, 6, 7, and 8. Very good chapters to read so that you get without getting too technical. All right. Anyway, Jenny, any closing thoughts for us before we call it a night?
So, if you read this book and you liked it, there's a part two, and that
Mm,
one, yes, there's a part two, and I forget the name, but it's there. And then apparently, I read a review that said that is more tamer. The language is tamer there than in this book. So
mm.
if you liked it, and then the part that Elikem mentioned, you're able to really grasp certain things and want to continue, you could look that up as well and continue. But then I like that we are taking lessons from Warren Buffett. He's by far the most fascinating investor I have ever had the encounter to be alive, as he's also alive. So I'm really
Yeah.
grateful that we got to read this book, yeah, and take the tenets from it. And I
Just,
really like the tenets. Sorry.
mhm. No,
I really like the
just
tenets. Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
let me just say this because you said 75
Okay.
forget. It's like, can you imagine if Warren Buffett retired at 60? One, he wouldn't be as rich as he is now. And two,
Yes.
we would not have met him. We would not
Yep.
have even, we wouldn't have, you weren't born by then. You get me? So if, no, I wasn't even born by then. You get it? So I'm
Yeah.
like, and we'd have just been reading about him like some textbook. But he's here, he's still alive. We are still seeing the things that he's doing, and Mama Mia, good stuff. Anyway, you're saying about the tenets.
So the tenets, I think the tenets too could be used if you are thinking about, let's say, partnering with a friend in a business, or
Mhm.
like the soft types of investments, not hardcore financial investments, but let's say a friend is, yeah, starting a business and those things. They are good for looking at some tenets that you can look into, see if going into some venture it will be profitable or not. So I encourage us all to use them in our normal day-to-day life. And I think we'll be able to get a lot of more benefits from there, even that then. Yeah. Thank you.
Great, great. Thank you for that. So, on that bombshell, we'll call it a night and say we wish you a good week and check us out on social media. Follow us on social media everywhere you go: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, yeah, everywhere. If here on YouTube, if you are watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button, like this, hit the thumbs up to like this, and then when you hit subscribe, go and click on the bell icon. Do the usual YouTube spiel, right? So yeah, and most importantly also follow our sister channel, the investment friend, on Instagram. This is where we are able to do the one-on-one financial coaching for you. So we remember Jennifer and I have said that it's not a one size fits all. And even though Warren Buffett did it his way, you need to do things your own way. So why not get some help with how you can do things to suit your own unique situation? It's by going to Investment Friend on Instagram, follow the page, and then DM the page any questions that you have or comments on the post and stuff, and get to engage. And let's see how we can help you, um, how we can help you in your personal journey towards financial independence. All right. So catch you on Thursday on Clubhouse. Yet another interesting topic coming up, and so I wish you all the best. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you for taking the time to listen to our thoughts. I hope you learned a thing or two and start practicing. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook. And subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. Do tell a friend about Money Convos so we all become wealthy together. Talk to you soon. Bye.